Now, the Kurdistan Workers Party, the PKK, is to disband, ending 4 decades of bloody conflict with Turkey. More than 40,000 people have been killed since the group took up arms in 1984 with the aim of creating a Kurdish state or an autonomous region in Turkey. Kurds make up around 20% of the Turkish population. The PKK said it had fulfilled its historical mission by enabling the Kurdish issue to be resolved through democratic means now. Turkey's Foreign Minister Hahn says it's an important step forward.
I
think the decision taken by the PKK is a historic and important one, especially regarding lasting peace and stability being dominant in our region. Of course, there are practical steps that need to be taken after this decision, and we will follow those closely.
Straight to Istanbul, we can join our correspondent, Hahn. Welcome, Julia. So what does the PKK's announcement actually mean?
Well, the PKK saying it will disband is widely seen here as a decisive step towards ending a decades-old insurgency, one of the longest in the Middle East, a conflict that has claimed tens of thousands of lives since the 1980s and that has deeply traumatized and polarized the country. The big question now is, will this really lead to lasting peace and reconciliation? And I think this is where some analysts remain very skeptical. Today's announcement comes after the militant group held a congress with more than 200 of its members in northern Iraq last week. That's where the PKK is headquartered. And that means they have followed a call made in late February by Abdullah Öcalan, the PKK's imprisoned founder. Just to remind you, Öcalan has been locked away in a Turkish jail for more than 25 years. However, very little information has been made available to the public by the PKK or the Turkish government about the underlying peace initiative. It is unclear how things will proceed from here. How will weapons be disposed of, for example? Who will monitor that? What will happen to thousands of PKK fighters? Will they be relocated to third countries, or will they be given an amnesty and a chance to return to a civilian life? What will all of this mean for Turkey's Kurdish population, or for Turkish people who think that the government should not be negotiating with the PKK that is classified as a terrorist organization by Turkey and its Western allies? So many open questions and many potential stumbling blocks.
And what sort of a reaction has there been to the announcement?
Well, government officials we've heard from so far, the Turkish foreign minister, for example, have welcomed the PKK's announcement, but they haven't really provided details on what comes next. The Turkish government has so far also not disclosed any concessions it might have made to the PKK in exchange for disarmament. Overall, you have to know that this peace process is a really delicate matter. Past efforts at making peace between Turkey and the PKK have failed, most recently in 2015, and what followed was a very harsh government crackdown on the Kurdish movement here in the country. Still, we've heard very hopeful comments and reactions from Turkey's Kurdish party as well. It's the second largest opposition party here in the country. And we have seen images of people in Turkey's mainly Kurdish populated east, in the city of Diyarbakir, for example, celebrating in the streets with music and dancing. And many Kurds have long said that they want peace, that they want the violence and suffering to end. We've also compiled some reactions from Istanbul. Let's listen in.
I'm very happy today. We are very happy. Let there be no more bloodshed in our country. Let us have a peaceful country. Turkey is a truly beautiful place. We need to appreciate this.
The PKK was an organization that put itself out there for the integration of Kurdish people for 50 years. If social and democratic rights have been granted to Kurds in the Republic of Turkey, it's natural for the PKK to be disbanded. I think it would be better for our country.
I don't think it's right to make a deal with terrorists, but I'm in favor of democratic and social rights being the priority for all citizens of the Republic of Turkey, for all Turks, and for everyone to benefit from these rights.
Julia Hahn, Turkish presidential elections in the next 3 years. Does this announcement benefit President Erdogan at all?
Well, you have to know the conflict between Turkey and the PKK. It has spilled across borders into neighboring Iraq, Syria. The PKK is listed as a terrorist organization by the European Union, the United States as well. So if they really lay down arms, if this really comes with a lasting, sustainable peace process, this would have huge impacts on the entire region, not only in Turkey. But analysts say it would be a major win for President Erdogan, who would probably be trying to use this to further consolidate his increasingly authoritarian rule, and who would try to use this to boost the popularity of his ruling AKP that has lost popularity in recent elections. Analysts say that a deal with the Kurds would allow or could allow Erdogan to amend the constitution and secure another term in office, while he could at the same time drive a wedge between the Kurdish party and the other Turkish opposition parties. This whole peace process comes at a time when Erdogan's top rival, Istanbul's Mayor Ekrem İmamoğlu from the main opposition CHP, sits in jail over corruption charges. So many analysts have pointed to the fact that a real peace process would also require some sort of democratic opening, because thousands of Kurdish politicians and activists are also still in jail or have been removed from their political posts. So these are issues the Kurdish movement here in the country would certainly want President Erdogan to address.
Thanks for that, Julia Hahn in Istanbul.